Welcome back to First Take. The Lakers' 3-game win streak ended last night at the hands of Oklahoma City, who have now beat the Lakers 3 times in a row and twice so far this season. They did it without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Lakers didn't have Luka last night either. And after the game, LeBron James was asked about the differences between the Thunder and the Lakers.
Where are you seeing the gaps between like where they're at and things they do well consistently versus like kind of the build that you guys are trying to put together?
You want me to compare us to them?
No, I want to know where you think sort of that like sort of this team is on. It's like
that's a championship team right there. We're not. So I don't understand.
What are the biggest things you think that are keeping this team as right now?
We can't sustain energy and effort for 48 minutes, and they can. That's why they won a championship.
I love being a straight shooter. Right there is LeBron. He didn't mince words. We can't sustain the energy. They can.
Say it loud and proud.
Straight shooter. There you go.
Say it loud and proud. Straight shooter.
Oh, look
I like
at
that.
that.
I like that name. I like that name.
Got it.
Thank you very much.
What do you think about what LeBron said?
I like that.
I think he nailed it. Listen, I've watched the Lakers. They were in the Garden a couple weeks ago. The Lakers, so they're available on television regularly. And the first thing that you're struck with when you watch this group, considering the Western Conference, is they don't have enough size, and then they don't defend. Like, there's just no way around those two things. And I get it. Luka Doncic potentially having an otherworldly postseason performance is not out of the realm of possibility. But just on a functional level of the grind and how difficult it is to win, I think that's what you heard from that sound from LeBron James. How much he respects the way that the Thunder are able to bring it consistently, as he said. So to me, the Lakers, to me, as I'm watching, this year is whatever it may be. It is not a year that is going to go down in the Lakers' legacy books, whatever. They are clearly trying to figure out how they're going to move forward with Luka Doncic as a centerpiece, and that begins this offseason.
Yeah, the Lakers can also be streaky shooters. What do you think, S.A., about what LeBron said?
You know what, Shay, I'm going to defer to my brother, Big Perk, because, he hasn't been on in the morning too much for First Take, throughout these last few months. So I'm going to warm and re-ingratiate him with our audience. Feel free, he's up in the morning in some undisclosed location. Let the brother speak first, and then I will follow. You may go.
Undisclosed.
You may go.
Well, I would say shots were fired. Shots were fired. That was shots fired at Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka, because LeBron said, we're not able to sustain for 48 minutes, meaning that you don't have the personnel and the depth to compete at a high level for 48 minutes. We already knew that. What did Rob Pelinka do at the trade deadline? He went out and got Luke Kennard. Now, I'm not saying Luke Kennard is not a damn good basketball player offensively. We know he's one of the best three-point shooters in the game, but that's not been the offense hasn't been the Lakers' issue. The Lakers' issue has been their toughness, right? Who's going to anchor the front line? It hasn't been DeAndre Ayton. Don't get caught up in those numbers, especially when he have double-doubles, because that's fool's gold. Jackson Hayes, you don't know mentally, is he going to be checked in or checked out every single night? And they don't have perimeter dogs to defend at a high level consistently and provide some offense. But again, it goes back to this. The Lakers have moved on from LeBron James. Mm-hmm. He's crying for them to build the championship roster, and they're telling him right in the front of his face in today's world, in 2026, that it's not about you no more. This is about Luka Doncic. This is about our future. We're not rushing to do anything to please you. This is what this is about.
Well, listen. First of all, let's understand this about LeBron James when he said about them being able to sustain effort and not us. Do you know what the Lakers' record is when they have a lead going into the fourth quarter?
It was like 18-1.
You know what the record is? 23-0. They're undefeated. Right here. 23-0 when they enter the fourth quarter with the lead. When they enter the fourth quarter with the lead. They're 23-0. So those last 12 minutes, you're looking at them and it's like, it's a problem for them in a lot of instances, elsewhere. The bottom line is this. You don't have to, Big Perk, build the team around LeBron James and his desire, because LeBron James and his desire doesn't necessarily have to be separate and apart from that of Luka Doncic. What I mean by that is that the needs are the needs, whatever they may be. Luka Doncic is a superstar offensive basketball player. I'm not sure he could guard you, Perk. I'm not sure. You know, the bottom line is that he ain't trying to. Most of the time, he is not. He will never, ever be accused of being a stout defensive player. Okay? Well, when they're talking about execution, we keep thinking offense. It's everything. Why did I not have a problem with them getting Luke Kennard? Because do you realize that the Lakers shoot better contested from the perimeter than they do open shots? They miss more open shots. I mean, no wonder you haven't seen J.J. Redick smile since Thanksgiving. The man is watching his team, one of the great shooters the NBA has seen. He is watching dudes get wide open shots and can't make them. It's gotten to the point where you see opposing teams like, should we really guard them out there? Let them shoot. When we contest them, they make some of those shots. They don't make open shots. This is who they are. And so and then you combine that with what they don't do defensively, collectively, in terms of effort consistently over a 48-minute period, you're not going to look at them and say, hey, they're a championship team. But I tell you this much, they have the personnel where they could surprise you. I don't think it'll happen. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of it is not even because of your personnel. It's because of the effort that they don't give you. You know, because it's a little bit different than La La. It's a little bit different than Tinseltown.
Surprise
you know,
how?
sometimes people get comfortable. Not LeBron. No. Well, I'm just talking about potentially a dark horse. I don't believe it. I don't believe that's going to happen. But you look at their personnel and you just say to yourself, damn, if they gave some more effort, they could make some noise. They could be, they could make some noise. You just don't expect them to because the effort ain't consistently there.
So do you agree with that? Do you think the Lakers could potentially be a dark horse?
Girl, if and buts were candy and nuts, sure. Like, why not? Like, I'm not going to say no team out of respecting NBA teams. I'm not going to say anybody can't win. But as I look at this with my rational basketball mind, whether it's the effort, the defense, or the depth, whichever issue you want to pick, they got some issues in terms of trying to win at a high level. But to Stephen A's point, as he started, he's right. The needs are the needs, SA, but we all know that the assets, in terms of how you go and address those needs, are going to look very different this summer as opposed to right now.
Kirk, what do you think? Could they be a dark horse?
Yes.
Hell no. Absolutely not. Look, I'm telling you this. Guys like Anthony Edwards, SGA, the San Antonio Spurs backcourt. By the way, they play the Spurs tonight, so let's tune in and watch that game because every time they play the Spurs, they get cooked, especially on the perimeter. Teams are looking forward to playing against the Los Angeles Lakers with a healthy squad out there. And I know those guys haven't been healthy, but you're talking about a 41-year-old LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and Luka. You're talking about those three guys being on the floor together. Right now, all three guys are defensive liabilities. All three of those guys are not great at all when it comes down to sliding your puppies. Okay, give LeBron James the benefit of the doubt and say that he is 41 years old. You can't expect him to be out there and be this defensive guru. I give you that. But looking at your two guys that you got plans on building your franchise around, and Luka and Austin Reeves, man, they're cooked. The league is waiting on those two guys when it comes down to matchups in the post game. I believe this Laker team, their ceiling is the second round.
Okay. Also, all of this chatter.
Well, listen.
Go ahead,
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. But what I'm saying to you is this: when we're talking about effort, a collective effort, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, which we don't see enough of from the Lakers, that's a huge, huge impediment. We know, and I think even Perk would agree, offensively, when they get going, they can hang with anybody offensively. The problem is that you can't get stops. This is why, even though we respect the job that J.J. Redick and his coaching staff has done, and major props to them, a lot of us feel compelled to never let anybody forget about Darvin Ham. Because with him coaching the Lakers, guess what? They went to the Western Conference Finals because they were much better defensively. And you pretty much have most of the same players. The difference is there was a demand for it. There was a demand for it, and there was a respect that playing defense It mattered. It was prioritized. And I'm not accusing J.J. Redick and the Lakers of not prioritizing that. I'm just saying with Darvin Ham, that was his signature. And what we're seeing now are guys looking to make shots, looking to score, whatever. But you're 22nd in defensive efficiency. You're 27th in defensive field goal percentage. You're 27th in block shots in the league. You're 28th in contested shots per game. 28th in contested shots. That means more often than not, teams are getting open shots against the Lakers. That's something you got to point to. You just have to.
Well, look, I'm accusing J.J. Redick and the Lakers of that. I'm accusing them of that. You know why? Because even when you look at the game last night, J.J. Redick, he coached the game solely thinking about offense, right? Because I'm looking at a team that, like yesterday when they playing against the Oklahoma City Thunder last night, you could have had Jared Vanderbilt on the floor. You got to remember, Jared Vanderbilt was getting DMPs about a month and a half ago, and the Lakers were struggling. And then all of a sudden, J.J. Redick had to insert him into the rotation, and that's when they started winning games. So you do have some guys that are going to go out there and give you max effort, like a guy like Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt. But the problem is that now J.J. is always worried about space. He's always worried about spacing. Jared Vanderbilt can't knock down open shots, but you could utilize him in other ways where he's going to help you with stuff that doesn't show up in the box score. So I do accuse JJ of that. Last night I thought he got his ass out coached.
You could look at it this way. You know, sometimes you're disrupting rhythm. Like, for example, you might put defensive players out on the court, Eminem, Shea, Big Perk, that you know they're not going to do much for you spacing. You know they're not going to make perimeter shots. But they're going to be such disruptive forces to an opposing offensive team, then that's the light that you need in order to really spark you offensively later on in a game. You look at stuff like that and you see something like that, that's like, you know, that's definitely something that should be utilized. I think about Vanderbilt, that's what he's there for. He's a defender. Marcus Smart is just all hard. He's going to give you what he's got. There's no question about that. You got to have cats like that on the floor and make sure they don't get DMPs, because what they do just for disruptive purposes is important when you're trying to win basketball games. Sometimes you see guys, the reason why you're talking about people looking forward to playing the Lakers, I don't give a damn who you are. It could have been against Michael Jordan. If Michael Jordan wasn't an elite defensive player, people would have looked forward to playing against him, because even though they knew he was going to bust their ass, dropping 40 or 50, they would be like, I can get mine too. That's how a basketball player thinks. If I can get mine, I feel good. Against the Lakers, everybody feels like they can get theirs. That's the problem more so than anything else. Everybody feels like they can get theirs.
So to circle it all back, Shay, it's the sound we started with. This team doesn't play hard enough, consistently enough. Point blank, period. Because even if, to S.A. and Perk's point, even if those defensive stoppers were on the floor more, that's just not their identity at this point in the season, and you're not going to turn over a new leaf this late.
And all this after a 9-point loss to a
by the
Thunder team that didn't even have
Shay,
SGA. Yeah?
By the way, Shay, very, very important point to bring up. The one thing where you know LeBron James is talking about other people is when he's talking about effort. Because you're never going to convince LeBron James that LeBron doesn't give max effort. The way he takes, I mean, we can sit up there and be critical at times. You know what, as Perk would say, he didn't slide those puppies. He didn't get out to a perimeter shooter. He didn't get back on defense, whatever. But he is 41. He has been in the league for 23 years. So his mentality is, damn, is somebody going to cover me? I'm still giving you 22 a night. I'm still balling decently enough. What the hell are y'all going to do? Y'all just going to have me out there playing 35 minutes, running up and down 94 feet with no break whatsoever? Could y'all cover a brother? Could you help out? When he's talking about effort, he's definitely talking about somebody else, because he knows what he has religiously done throughout his career to take care of his body and to keep himself in peak condition. So he'll give you what he's got, and if he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. But he's certainly not looking at himself as being purposefully lackadaisical. When he says something like that, He talking about others.
Yeah.
He ain't talking about himself.
LeBron had 22 last night. He had 10 dimes. It was his third straight game with 10 assists. Let's move on. We'll be back with more of these two a little bit later on. Who could be next year's Seahawks? Long